At 39 years old, Pastor Brian Carn has just done something no one ever anticipated. He finally broke his silence. After years of circulating rumors, leaked voicemails, and viral clips, the prophet himself has now confirmed the very allegations that have followed him for more than a decade. And just when things seemed like they couldn't get more explosive, his ex-girlfriend came forward with one final devastating revelation. Every single recording? Exposed. This isn't just a scandal, it's the complete unraveling of a pulpit dynasty. And what he confesses will send shockwaves through the entire church community. Pastor Brian K., once praised as one of the most anointed prophetic voices of our time, is now at the center of a controversy so loud it's reverberating from pulpits to pews all across the country. At just 39, the spiritual leader who once drew massive crowds to revivals, who claimed divine insight on everything from pandemics to politics to personal destiny, has now come forward to confirm what many of his followers dreaded to believe. For years, accusations clung to him like a shadow. Inappropriate affairs, spiritual manipulation, staged prophecies, emotional control. The church community split into two camps, those who dismissed it all as slander and those who quietly believed the truth had yet to fully emerge. Now, that truth is in the spotlight, and it's not just coming from the stage. It's coming from the woman he once loved, who has now released a bombshell archive of text threads, voicemails, explicit audio, and private videos, all revealing what she says is the real Brian K. behind the pulpit. In this video, we're breaking it all down. No embellishments, no fabrications. We'll cover what Brian K. finally admitted in his public statement, the tapes that are setting the internet on fire, what ex-members and fellow ministers are saying, and why this might be more than a scandal. It could be the total collapse of a prophetic empire built on secrecy. Stick around, because what he said behind closed doors and who helped him keep it hidden is where things take a truly dangerous turn. If the early cracks in Pastor Brian K.'s public image came through whispers, the explosion came from the woman who once stood beside him and who eventually decided she'd had enough. For her protection, we'll refer to her only as V, but make no mistake, she is not a newcomer to K's world. Based on her own video testimony, she was deeply entangled in his life for over 2 years. She says she supported him through spiritual attacks, public criticism, and church turmoil. But what happened behind closed doors, according to her, was something else entirely. And she didn't just tell us, she brought receipts. In a multi-part exposed post to Instagram Live and later shared across TikTok, V didn't just share her side. She played actual recordings of intimate conversations with Pastor K. The recordings ranged from casual exchanges to deeply personal and, in many instances, confirmed the exact behaviors he'd long denied. One of the most circulated audio clips features K admitting, "You know they'll crucify me if they ever find out. You think I can just walk away from all this? These people made me a god." That sentence alone rattled the Christian community. It suggested not only a God complex, but also a keen awareness that he was leading a double life, preaching holiness publicly, while privately engaging in behaviors he feared would ruin him if discovered. In another audio, V accuses K of emotionally, sexually, and spiritually controlling her, using his prophetic authority to pressure her into submission. She says he would frequently use phrases like, "The Lord told me you're assigned to me, and leaving me is like rejecting your divine assignment." When she questioned their secrecy, she says he gaslighted her, warning she'd be cursed if she left or exposed him. Even more disturbing? She claims other women reached out with eerily similar stories, voice messages, and screenshots that echoed her own. One of the most damning clips V leaked allegedly shows K preparing for a revival service, reviewing a printout with names, illnesses, and prayer requests. These were supposedly gathered by his staff beforehand and later used as if divinely revealed during the service. While K's team hasn't confirmed the footage, the timing, voices, and visuals have made it one of the most explosive pieces of evidence so far. Several other recordings show a different side of K1, filled with rage. In one voicemail, he threatens, "If you put my name out there, it won't be the Holy Ghost you hear next, it'll be lawyers. You're not taking me down with this drama." A far cry from the calm, gentle tone he maintains on stage. Perhaps the most heartbreaking? A final recording where K breaks down in tears, saying, "I didn't ask to be this guy. They expect me to be perfect, I'm not. I failed, but I can't lose everything. I'll die." For many, this was the First time he showed true vulnerability, but also confirmation that he'd been hiding, suffocating beneath the weight of his image. Once the recordings went viral, silence was no longer an option. Under mounting public pressure, online backlash, and demands from his own congregation, Kay finally went live on his church's official stream. His statement? "I've made mistakes. I've battled temptation. I've hurt those close to me. But I am not a fraud and I'm not finished. I'm in counseling and seeking accountability, and I need your prayers." Notably, he did not deny the tapes. He didn't dispute the relationship, but he also didn't apologize to V or address the specific allegations of manipulation. That careful omission only sparked more questions. Was it a true confession or calculated damage control? The response divided. Some followers defended him harder than ever. Others walked away in silence and heartbreak. But this is just the beginning. In the next section, we explore how the wider church world is reacting, who's distancing themselves, and the deafening silence from the spiritual mentors. Before the controversy, before the tapes, before the public fallout, Brian Carn was a phenomenon. A spiritual prodigy. A rising voice in charismatic circles. He wasn't just preaching, he was prophesying. Claiming insight into celebrity deaths, world events, and national tragedies, and terrifyingly, some came true. Born in Jacksonville, Florida, Brian Carn began preaching at just 12. By his late teens, he was already traveling the nation, introduced as the young prophet sent by God. His fanbase believed in his gift. They saw him as a divine vessel. His YouTube sermons went viral. His style, part Southern Baptist, part Pentecostal, part showman, drew thousands to revivals. By 25, he was leading major conferences, mingling with gospel greats, even rubbing shoulders with televangelists and bishops. His church, Kingdom City, expanded to several cities. His books, tapes, and monthly prophetic subscriptions pulled in millions. His prophetic services often included specific names, health conditions, even past relationships, all delivered as divine revelation. But soon, some began to whisper, was it all truly supernatural? Former insiders claimed revelations were pre-researched, that staff fed in info before services, that the church was becoming a personality cult with Kay at its center, driving flashy cars, allegedly using his spiritual status to manipulate women. Loyal followers hit back, accusing critics of jealousy, calling them spiritually blind. But here's what's chilling: for nearly 10 years, every scandal that emerged quietly disappeared. Until now, once V dropped the tapes, not just accusations, but real evidence. The church world couldn't ignore it. And what shocked people most was the response from other church leaders. Perhaps the most haunting silence? From the women in Kay's own ministry leadership. Despite the allegations and thousands of women expressing discomfort online, no statement, no apology, no call to healing. One former member wrote, "If he can preach in the same room where women are hurting and no one speaks, that silence is spiritual violence."